for the subgroup. Appreciate that, as well as Ken Scher, who is our liaison to the Beacon board, and Jess Weathers, who just does all kinds of great, wonderful support things. So we appreciate that, Jess. And I'll let Amy introduce herself in just a minute, but we're delighted to have Amy Denning here as our speaker today. And I think it's going to be a really, really interesting and topical conversation today. So we're looking forward to that. So I'm going to share my screen for a quick moment and just do some quick introductory slides for Beacon. And hopefully folks are seeing those. All right, so let's just then jump into this and we'll get started. So again, welcome to today's conversation. This is the job search and career development subgroup for Beacon. We're really happy to have you all here today. And again, we think this is going to be just a great conversation. So I'm going to take a quick moment, just review a little bit of information about Beacon so that you're aware of kind of who and what Beacon is, and we'll go on from there. So many of you, I'm assuming most of you probably are familiar, but in the chance that we have folks who are maybe newer to Beacon, some quick background. Beacon is a professional networking group that has been around for over 30 years now. You may remember the name GPSEG, Greater Philadelphia Senior Executive Group, sort of the forerunner of Beacon. As you can see on the slide in front of you, really it's a community of business leaders, and you'll hear me say several times today about networking and sharing. And that really is what Beacon is about. It's all of the Beacon members are involved for various reasons, but a primary reason for all of us is that it's a real chance to share expertise, share knowledge, share perspective, leverage each other's relationships, that type of an idea. You can see the values on the screen. We believe strongly in sharing, helping, and learning from that perspective. A very diverse membership group in Beacon. You can see that we really range from corporate individuals, folks who have long corporate careers, various levels from that perspective, lots of entrepreneurs, sole proprietors, for the most part, more senior level individuals, director level and above. A wide variety of industries represented, wide variety of professions are represented, increasingly beyond the Philadelphia area. One of the maybe silver linings of the COVID experience was the fact that we could extend our reach just beyond the greater Philadelphia area, and we are increasingly having people join us from outside the region, which again is great for them, great for us, and extends the membership benefits that much further. And at the center, as you can see on the slide, it really is about just building and maintaining the trusted relationships. That's the goal of Beacon and the members as we go forward. I won't read all the bullets you can see in the slide there. I'll just simply say there are a number of benefits that anyone who is a member of Beacon, really is able to take advantage of and leverage. If you have an interest, if you're not already a member and have an interest in either learning more about Beacon or joining, you can certainly reach out to Zoe Toy, our executive director, or Jess, and they would be happy to provide updates and talk a bit more about what Beacon is about. We are grateful to a number of sponsors who really make programs like this and others that Beacon offers available. I'll just quickly run through a few of our slides to highlight them. For this year in 2024, Prime Point and Marsh & McLennan are two of our core sponsors. Star Business Alliance, Alta Management Services, and then, as you can see, the Neil Purry Associates, Advisor XO, the Alias Group, B Marketing, Penn State Great Valley, and PMA. And again, we're just grateful to the many sponsors for their support, and it does help us do the program that we think is a great value to all the members. A couple of just upcoming Beacon events to note. This Thursday, the 22nd, an uncommon skill building techniques that instill presence and resilience. Interesting title, and I'm sure it will be a very interesting presentation. That's running this Thursday again from 8 to 9:30 a.m. Next Thursday on Leap Day, the 29th, the University City Science Center, really just a sort of a great discussion around the 60 years, the history of the Science Center and how it has had a long history of growing and supporting the greater Philadelphia life sciences area. That's from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on the 29th. And then also on the 29th, you can see a networking happy hour. That's an in-person event in Lafayette Hill, 5 p.m. to 7:30. And then on Wednesday, March 6th, Business Networking Roundtable hosted by Pam Seplow. That's 8:30 to 10:30. And that's just a great opportunity to engage in a wide variety of discussions around business topics. So we're excited about those events. And if you haven't registered, please look on the website to do so. A quick introduction to our subgroup. Beacon has a number of subgroups that they are part of the organization. Ours in particular has been around for several years. I want to credit Ken, along with Ford Myers, who were the original architects of this subgroup, job search and career development, originally focusing primarily on individuals who were in transition between roles. And we still focus significantly on that aspect. But we broadened the subgroup to really topic into a range of topics that speak to career development, career navigation, career management. And we try to offer several times a year, like we are today, just topics and areas of information that we think are relevant to folks, either who are helping them navigate a job search or just helping them navigate their career. So we're excited to have you here with us today. One sort of quick programming note before I introduce Amy. We offer several times a year what we call the LinkedIn PAL, stands for Profile Optimization Workshop. These are hands-on sessions. We've had great feedback from them when we run them. If you have an interest in sort of looking at, reviewing, getting feedback on your LinkedIn profile, if you want to either create a new one, update one, great workshop to attend. You really do get hands-on experience. They're usually typically smaller groups, very informal, and a chance to get, as I said, just great advice and real-time things that you can implement that moment from a workshop perspective. So the next one is on April 9th, and we encourage everyone to attend if you have an interest in that. All right, then moving on to today. Again, pleased and really happy to have Amy here. Amy Denning, who's a well-known talent development leader in the greater Philadelphia area. Amy will say a little bit more about herself, but she has a great passion for this whole topic of talent development, learning and development and growth. She has a passion for attracting, engaging, and retaining talent through creative and measurable talent development initiatives. She just simply excels at developing and implementing strategies to do that in organizations. Amy has held leadership roles with a variety of companies, notably Quaker Houghton and Mainline Health. And she's a real frequent speaker at ATD national events, a variety of local events, things like today, for example. And Amy is also a board member and the orientation leader for a local nonprofit group called My Career Transition. So I think you'll find that her expertise is going to show through today. A great topic and just a great background. And so from a topic standpoint, Amy will talk in just a minute when I shut up about the emotional impact of job search and job loss. And a very relevant topic. It's a roller coaster when you're going through a job transition, lots of ups and downs, and maintaining that sort of even keel is a very challenging thing to do, and you'll hear much more about that from Amy. So with that, I will turn it over to Amy, welcome her to the group. Delighted to have her, and thanks for your time today. And Amy, take it away.
Great, thank you so much. Let me get my slides going here. And you can let me know if you can give me a thumbs up. Can you see my slides okay? Perfect, thank you so much. You know, as you were talking, Rob, you know, this part of my resume that I hate to share is that I've been in job transition 4 times. And I'm currently in job transition right now. So, you know, this topic is near and dear to my heart, and I will be talking to myself as I talk to all of you, because these are things we need to remember. And I will tell you, it took me about 3 different times of being in job transition to realize how important it is to deal with the emotional impact. You know, you lose your job. So what do? I got to go out and find a new one. And you don't think about what just happened. How did it impact me? And the one thing that I found when I looked out there, I do speak to a lot of networking groups and job search groups. No one was talking about this. I mean, nobody likes to talk about it, right? We don't want to talk about our emotions, but nobody was talking about it. And I'm like, but you feel the emotions, whether we talk about it or not. We feel these emotions. We need to deal with it because it obviously affects how you show up and how people see you. And so that's why I put this together a number of years ago. And I've given this talk many times. And I actually try to recommend to groups that they offer this talk because people need to think about what we're going to talk about today. So I applaud all of you for being here for this topic. Even if you're not in job transition at the moment, you probably have gone through something like this. And you can think about some of the techniques that we talk about as we go through, even if you're not in job transition. I think they're important techniques regardless. So the first thing I actually want to do is I need to bring up chat because I can't see it. Would you do me a favor? Would each of you respond? Are you in job transition right now? Why for yes and for no? Would you respond so I can see what I've got here? Why for yes and for no? All right, so we've got a mixture, which is great. Super, thank you. So what we want to start with is we actually want to start with a poll. So if you are currently in job transition, you've lost your job for whatever reason, you have a job search going on right now, or if you're not and you've gone through this in the past, I would love you to answer this poll. Now you're going to have a Google poll that Jess is putting in chat. Oh, there it is. You can pick, I believe, as many of these as you want, right, Jess? So they can pick multiple answers.
Yes.
Click off as many of these words as described for you when you were in job search or experienced job loss. I'm going to do it too, because let's see what I think I'm feeling. Actually, it won't let me do it because I'm the co-host, but that's okay. So you can pick as many of the words as you want. And I believe we have an other if you don't like any of my words. So you can choose other for your own. And again, if you're currently not in job search, but you've been through this before, what words did you experience? So we're getting a gambit of words here as I look. So go ahead, click as many as you want and then submit. I'm not sure exactly what word you see, but whatever it says there. All right. So I see anger as a high one, disappointment. Highest is loss. Rejection is up there, powerless, fear, sad, depressed, overwhelmed. Other feelings came up 27%. So you've got other words. And if you want to shoot those other words into chat, go ahead and do that. But you can see the plethora of words that we use to describe once we experience that job loss or when we're going through job search. So I'm going to go ahead and click end the poll. I'm going to share the results just so you can see them because I don't know if you could see them. You can see loss came up the highest. Great. Thanks for sharing that with me. And I echo, I was disappointed this last time that I lost my job. I had no idea. I went into a meeting thinking they were going to tell me I was going to be managing people in different countries in learning and development and found out they were letting me go. So I was shocked, utterly shocked, because I just had no clue. Now, in chat, I got to bring up my chat again. And thank you, John. I was hoping I would see that. So I didn't have any positive words on there, but sometimes when we go through that, there is excitement or opportunity or looking forward to something. Okay, so sometimes that is the emotion that we feel when we go through a job loss and job search. I can tell you in the past, I had I won't mention any company names, but I was in a bad situation with a manager that we just did not click at all. And honestly, when I was laid off, I, for the first time, started feeling healthy again because I would actually feel sick every morning going into work. And so that was a relief. So sometimes when we do, receive that news, it actually gives us a relief and a sense of I can move on to something else now. So let's talk about then. We have these emotions. What the heck do we do with them? So first thing is, and this all sounds like really obvious, but I don't know that we do it, right? Recognize the emotions and the feelings we're having and identify them. That's kind of why I had you do the poll. What are those emotions and feelings that you're having? Identify them. Go, if you're using the word anger, try to go behind that word and what really is going on. Because a lot of times we use that word, but really there's something behind the word anger. It kind of masks the actual feeling that we have. So for example, let's say I say, I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm angry at my company. How could they do this? How could they let me go? I was contributing. I'm angry. Well, if I really start thinking about it, maybe I feel like I'm a failure. Like what they obviously would have kept me if I was good. That might be behind my anger or being unappreciated or being feeling helpless. So I encourage you, if you pick the word anger, to go a little bit deeper with yourself. What do you mean? Why are you angry? Because again, you're getting to the root of these emotions that you're feeling. And I know it's uncomfortable, believe me. I've been feeling this since this happened to me the end of the year. So, get behind those feelings. What are they? Here's an important point. Please tell yourself this is normal. These are normal emotions and feelings to have when something like this happens, when you lose your job, and also when you're going through job search. Why do I say that? You all know when you're going through job search, you don't get a lot of positive affirmation. You get no news, you get rejection, you get negative news. There really isn't too much positive that comes out of job search. You get a lot of negative things from people. So it's important for you to say to yourself, it's normal for me to feel this. It's okay for you to feel this. Please give yourself permission to feel the emotions that you're feeling. Really, really important. Because I know you know this, but if you take your emotions and you hold on to them inside and you don't deal with them, they will come out in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person. And that's what you don't want when you're going through job search. I noticed that about 2 months ago. My mom was asking me some questions. I was on the phone with her and I got really aggravated with her for no good reason. And I'm like, why am I being mean to my mom? She was just asking questions, finding out how I was doing. Why am I doing that? Well, I think that's because of the emotion that's behind what happened. So again, and you don't just do this once. Please don't think that I'm saying, okay, I'm angry, I'll get over it. No, you're dealing with it for a while. And it's important that you allow yourself to do that. Now, once we do these first four bullets, then we need to find the best way to work through the emotions to get to a productive place. And that can be a lot of different things. And it can be different for each one of us. So I want you to think about that for just a minute. Think about, how do you best work through emotions? What works for you? Is it being physical and doing something physical? Is it talking with somebody? Um, it's different for every person. You want to find a way to work through the emotion and continue to work through the emotions. Do you have a safe person that you can talk to, and just say, Ken and I are buddies. Ken, I just need to talk to you. Can you just listen? You don't have to say anything. I just need to get some of these emotions out. Do you have that safe person you can do that with? It could be a family member, it could be a coach, it could be anyone. But think about a person that you can express those emotions to. Yeah, thank you. John was putting in chat, which I'm trying to watch as well. Until you work through these emotions, it's really hard to be effective when you're interviewing and networking. I don't want Jess to come up to me in a networking event and me to just say, well, Amy, how you doing? How's your job search? It's terrible, Jess. I hate it. Now Jess is a nice person, so she's going to listen to me, but I don't want to project negativity in the wrong places when I'm interviewing, when I'm networking. So that's why you want that safe place to work through those emotions. Really, really important. So I want to ask you another question. If you can get in chat, I like to be interactive. I don't like to talk at you. So if you'll work with me here, what kinds of losses have you experienced with the loss of your job? There's a lot of losses here, and I want you to think about it. So can you go into chat and type examples of losses that you've experienced with the loss of your job? So you've lost income, obviously, and the work relationships that you had with people that you're working with on a regular basis. You've also lost belonging to that place. Yeah, you felt like you belong, and now you're not there anymore. The sense of security has been lost, right? Yeah, coworkers that became your friends. That's hard. Identity. If your identity is in your work, you feel like you're losing your identity. Absolutely. Your structure and your routine. That's a really important one, right? Because you got up at this time, you drove to work, or you got on your computer, whatever it was, and you worked, and maybe you took off for lunch for a little bit. You had that structure, and now you don't. Yeah, again, the sense of identity, opportunities, benefits, right? Your allegiance with that organization, your loyalty to them, and their loyalty to you, right? Yep. Your knowledge, you have the opportunity to continue to work on things, maybe try new things, learn new things. Self-image, absolutely, right? So a lot of those things that you can feel that sense of loss as you go through your lost job, your professional identity. Now, notice how I put professional identity. I want to challenge you all a little bit. You are still the same person you were before you lost your job. Hear me on that, right? You are the same wonderful person you were before you lost your job. You just lost your job. Okay. You take all of that with you. Who you are stays with you. Self-esteem, self-confidence, that it really hits you. I didn't want to lose my job. I thought I was doing well there. I got a good performance review. What the heck? You know, now am I really good at what I thought I was good at? You start to question yourself. We mentioned the routine, motivation. You can get really down on the dumps and really not motivated to do anything when you experience a loss like this. You don't have that purposeful activity to keep you engaged and excited and working with others, and maybe an exciting project or whatnot. Many of you mentioned that social network. And I want to challenge you there too, because I know I've experienced this 4 times, as I said, and I'm a people person, so that was big for me. And somebody said to me, Amy, you might not work there anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't stay in touch with people. Light bulb, yeah, it's a little bit more work, right? Because you're not seeing them every day. I'm still in touch with somebody from the very first job I had outside of college. I was in her wedding. She got married later in life. I was in her wedding. Okay. There was a coach that for a company that I worked at, they actually had like a health coach on site, which was really pretty cool. She and I used to like walk together, and this was where I had the boss that I was very relieved to get laid off from. I would walk around the building with her, and it would really help me deal with the stress. And I get together for her to go to concerts to this day. So you can not lose those folk. It's up to you. And then the sense of security. Now, of course, we all know that it's kind of a false sense of security because we can lose our job at any time, but we do feel more secure when we've got the benefits, the 401k, the paycheck is coming in. Hey, that's another one. Thank you, Glenn. Energy, that goes a little bit with motivation, but you can have a loss of energy, right? Because it's like, oh, I don't really feel like doing anything, so you kind of have to psych yourself up. So this is very real. And I want you to recognize that these are a lot of losses to go through at one time. Give yourself some credit for experiencing this and going through this. But then think about, how do I bolster myself up with these losses? What can I do differently? Many of you may have seen this chart before. It's actually used to describe change. It's also used to describe grief, and it's also used to describe loss. And I feel like it's really very accurate. You go through at least 4 stages. They put it in the 4 stages. Your first stage, when you find out you're losing your job, is you just want to keep things the same, and you kind of pretty much deny it, or you're in a sense of shock. And I know when I found out last year, that's how I felt. I was like, I wasn't expecting this. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna keep working and try to figure it out. But you didn't want to think about it. You didn't want to really, whoops, I'm sorry, my slides move by themselves. You didn't really want to focus on it. And that's your body's way of dealing with the sense of loss that you're experiencing. So it's okay to go through that stage. You can't stay there forever, but it's okay to go through that stage. It's natural. Then stage 2 is really disruption. This is when you're angry, you have a sense of fear, you're really experiencing the sense of loss that you're going to have. And so it just feels like your whole world just got shaken up, and you don't even know what to do. And it's hard to deal with anything. So you're going to feel a lot of those emotions that we mentioned earlier. You're just going to go through this period. This is an important period to go through, but it's a hard period to go through, because you feel like, what are those called? The snow globes that people have. You feel like somebody picked up your snow globe, you're inside of it, and they shook you as hard as they could. That's how you feel when you're in that stage 2. You just feel like there's no solid ground for you. Then, as you start to understand what's really happening, when is it happening? What's it going to look like? You enter stage 3, which is exploration. And what this means is you're exploring this new reality. What's it going to look like for you? How's it going to impact you? When's it going to impact you? Are they going to provide anything for you at the loss of your job? So you start to accept the fact that this is happening. And notice that stage 3. It takes you 2 stages to get to the fact where you're accepting this new reality. Again, this is natural and normal. Do not beat yourself up for going through these stages. The way the amount of time you spend in each stage will be different per person. So I'm not going to tell you, you got to move on here, there, or that's up to you. However, I will tell you, you need to move on. You need to let go and move forward. You can't stay in stage 1 or stage 2. It will be very uncomfortable for you and very hard for you to move on to a new job. Stage 4 then is rebuilding. So you've accepted this is the reality and you're making a commitment to what's next. Okay, I need to start working on my job search toolkit. I need to make a commitment to start networking. So you start seeing your things in a more positive light and moving forward to look for your next opportunity. So it's important, again, to give yourself grace as you go through this, because you will. And some people go through it really fast. I will say I don't. But I know other people, they're like, boom, 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 and they're moved on. I don't change as quickly as that. So it takes me a little while to go through these stages. And it doesn't mean that from time to time, you're not going to get angry or you're not going to feel fearful, even if you're in stage 2, 3, or 4. So this just kind of gives us a context to think about the loss that we've experienced. So I want to ask you another question in chat. What can you learn from an experience of losing your job? What can you learn either about yourself or about the company or about the future? Would you go ahead and type in the chat? What are some things that we can learn going through something like this? Yes, thank you, John. Your self-worth is not tied up with your job. Absolutely. What's really important in life? Yeah. What else? Your own resilience. Yeah. You're in HR, so you've learned what not to do. Thank you. Very good. You need to rely on yourself. You always need to be ready because you don't know when something is going to happen. You know, sometimes you see the writing on the wall and you know something might happen, but a lot of times you don't know. Okay. How important it is to keep building connections. Yes, please. Networking all the time, whether you're job seeking, you're not job seeking. Very important. You're grateful you're not there anymore. Yes, absolutely. We can all be very grateful when we get to the other side of this, right? So thank you, John. You said it. My job is not me or my life. It's a job. It may be a great job, maybe the best job you ever had, but it's a job. It's not you. You need to separate yourself from that, right? The all endings create opportunities for new beginnings. We don't think about that when we're focusing on the ending. Once we get to that stage 3 or 4 in the change curve, we can start to possibly see opportunities. I already mentioned you don't need to lose those connections you've had. You can maintain them. It's just a little bit harder. This is an important one. This is one I've learned over time. When you leave, leave well. Even when it's not your choice, leave well. That's the picture that you're leaving with people of you. What picture do you want it to be? Now, I'll give you a great example. In my last role, I was given some time, so I knew I had a couple of months that I knew that this was happening. And they offered me a severance package, which was lovely. But what I had to do in that time was train 3 people how to do my job because nobody else knew the learning and development department. Now, I could have, not really done it well. I could have been a pain in the butt. And I said, I'm not going to do that. I want these 3 people to be successful, regardless of what happened to me. I want to leave well. I want them to say, Amy did everything she possibly could before she left. And that's what I did. That speaks to my character. That speaks to how people remember me. So I encourage you, when you go through this now, or if you go through it in the future, leave well. Another thing is, when you get feedback, you can learn from that. We always say feedback is a gift. I really believe it is. It's not always easy to take, right? Sometimes we get some feedback we don't want to hear or we don't believe. Remember, we all have blind spots, things that we can't see about ourselves that other people see. Getting feedback from people could reveal some blind spots that could help me with my next opportunity. Or even if it's not the blind spots, getting that feedback about you can bolster you to say, here's the good things that people say about me. You can use that when you interview to say, here's what I've learned about myself in this past role. And then reflect on, what did you do well in that role? What did you learn? What could you have done differently? Now, I'll give you an example. I don't like admitting it, but at my last role, there were people that really liked to look and examine my work. And I didn't like that very much because I've been doing what I do in learning and development for a long time. So I put up a little bit of a fight with that. Now, could that be part of the reason why I lost my job? I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe it is. So maybe I needed to be more accepting, even though they were going into the nitty-gritty detail. So there's something that I could learn and do differently the next time that I'm looking for an opportunity, which is now, of course. I do want to throw in something about hope, because when you're going through job loss and job search, you need to have hope. You need to have hope that you're going to find a new opportunity. You need to have hope that there are people that are going to help you. You need to have hope that you are going to land. Different people have their hope in different things. I'm a person of faith. That's where my hope lies. But hope is a feeling of expectation and a desire for something to happen. And we need to have hope. What is your hope in? Think about what your hope and where your hope is. And if you don't have any hope right now, what can you do to build up your hope? And I hope some of the things we're going to talk about next will help you. But it's important, because if you don't have hope, what are you going to do? We need to have hope. We need to have this expectation of what's coming next. And how can you get back there? So let's talk about self-confidence, because some of you mentioned in chat, you have that loss of like self-esteem. And I know in several of my layoffs, I actually did lose confidence in myself. And self-confidence is a feeling of trust in your abilities, qualities, and judgment. So let me say first, I want to go back and say that you lost your job. You didn't lose your abilities, your qualities, or your judgment, right? You lost your job. So be honest with yourself again about that as you're working to build up your self-confidence. So I'd like you to take a piece of paper, if you have one nearby, or if you've got a tablet or laptop, if you want to type. But I want you to write down a few things. This is to help build your self-confidence. So I would ask that you really do it. Write down a few of your proudest accomplishments, either from your last job or sometime in your work history. Pick one or two. You don't have to write them out in detail. Just, for me, totally redesigned a learning and development program for new managers in 1 month's time. And that may not sound like much, but considering all the pieces to that program, I'm really proud of that. So write down one or two of your proudest accomplishments. And I'm going to be quiet for a minute so you can do that. If you're currently working, write them down too. This will help build your self-confidence. And when you get done with that, I want you to write down a few of the strengths that you are going to bring to your next employer. Or if you're currently working, write down the strengths that you are bringing to your employer. And if you're self-employed, what are the strengths you're bringing to yourself so your own business can survive and thrive? So take a minute, write that down. One or two accomplishments, a couple of your strengths. I want you to go into chat. How do you feel right now when you're writing down your proudest accomplishments and your strengths? What feeling words are you feeling? Would you share that with me in chat? How does that make you feel when you write down your proud accomplishments and your strengths? Ooh, let's see what we say here. Confidence boost, warm, happy, glad to remember what you accomplished, calmer, proud. You can see you were focused on the right things. Excellent. So you don't need me to do this. If you're starting to feel down on yourself or you're starting to feel less confident, pull out this list and add a couple more accomplishments, add a couple more strengths. But you need to put some of the positive back into this equation, right? Because as we mentioned, job search tends to be a lot of loss and a lot of negative feelings. So you need to be around people. You need to be, there are positive people. You need to be thinking positively. So one of the ways you can build your self-confidence is to think about those things that you're really proud of, that you did well, and the strengths that you're bringing as you move on to your next opportunity. Because not everybody out there is going to build up your self-confidence. So we need to do some of that ourselves. So thanks for sharing your emotions in the chat. I appreciate that. Let's talk about ways to take care of yourself. Yeah, avoid the Debbie Downers. We all know who they are, right? What are some ways that you can take care of yourself? I'm going to ask you to go in the chat and they can go into all kinds of directions. What are ways you can take care of yourself when you're going through this? What do you think? Oh, mixed emotions. Yeah, I see that, Jim. what can we do to take care of ourselves? So exercise routine. Jess was asking me how my day was, and I just got back from my Zumba class. So that energizes me, makes me feel good. I get to see other people, gets me out of the house. Excellent. What else can we do to take care of ourselves? Get enough sleep, get outside. I know it's cold, but it's sunny. Get some of that sunshine on you. Time with friends, time with family. Make sure you take time for yourself. Thank you, Ken. I'm not doing a good job of that. I'm really focused on my job search and I'm not taking enough time off. Meet new people. That's great. Your hobbies. Yeah, engage in your hobbies. You've got a little bit of more time, or you can have discretionary use of your time. So what can you do during that time? Yes, definitely volunteer. Um, Volunteering always makes you feel good because you're helping somebody else. I was actually out on LinkedIn yesterday. Not that I need another place to volunteer because I do volunteer a lot of places, but somebody was saying they were going to Cradles to Crayons, which is a local nonprofit, and they were having a morning where they were helping them package up things for children that they support. And so I knew the person that was advertising. I said, can I come? Because I didn't know what group it was. It looked like it was a group of women. And she's like, absolutely. So I'm going on March 8th to Cradles to Crayons to help package things for kids. And I'm excited about it. Let's see, don't overwork your search. Yeah, take enough time for yourself, your family, so that you're well rested and energized. Yeah, you don't want to look exhausted when you're interviewing and when you're networking. That is not a great look. So we've got to take care of ourselves. Consistent exercise. Yes. You're playing ball and hiking. That sounds great. So we want to think about those ways, and this is different for everybody, right? But we want to think about ways that we can take care of ourselves. So let's take a look at that here. I'm going to close chat so I can do that. There we go. So take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all the ways. Think about what can you do to take care of yourself and do it. Don't just say you're going to do it. We talked about exercise, sleep, eat, and drink healthy. I know there might be a temptation to drink a lot of alcohol right now because it makes you happy temporarily. That's probably not the best solution for a job search, but we all have ways of coping. Find ways to reduce your stress. I have a lady down the street here in my development who has a little dog, and I don't have a dog, but I love dogs. So I'll go down and knock on the door and say, do you guys want to go for a walk? And sometimes two of them go, and sometimes I just take Bo for a walk and she stays home. And I talk to him the entire walk. And he's hard of hearing, so I don't think he knows what I'm saying. But you know what? When I drop him off, I have the biggest smile on my face. Something about animals, especially dogs. Take mental health breaks. Take a little break, get outside, take a little break, go out to Panera for lunch, whatever. Give yourself a break. We cannot look 24/7. We won't be good for anybody if we look 24/7. I'm talking to myself too. I know that. Write down your feelings and your thoughts if that's helpful for you. Oh, I can actually mention this. I just started this today, and it's not mine, but I copied it, and I'll tell you what it says. You may want to write this down. This is called a 3x3 daily worksheet. So here's the three things you write. Three things I'm grateful for today. So you're going to write down three things. Then you write down three things you're excited about today. So grateful for, excited. And then the last one is three things I'm absolutely committed to complete today. Okay, so three things you're grateful for, three things I'm excited about, three things I'm absolutely committed to complete today. And you can fill it out every day. And I would encourage you, if you do, that you change what you write. Don't write the same things you're grateful for every day, because it's really hard to be negative when you're writing things you're grateful for. And I will tell you, one of the things I wrote that I'm absolutely committed to complete today, and you can let me know if I did it later, is to present well and encourage the beacon attendees. So that's on my list today. So let me know at the end whether I succeeded or not. But this is an exercise. But you know what? I felt good when I filled it out. Yeah, and I also made a commitment to myself to do some things by writing it down. Talk to a trusted family member or friend. Accept help from others. Can I tell you, you can't do job search alone? You cannot do job search alone. You need people. You need the people that come up to you and give you the hug. You need the people that will take your networking call and network with you. You need the person that invites you out to lunch and pays for your lunch because they know you're in job search. It's been amazing how people have reached out. Let's see. I want to see what Eric said here. Take a bit of time to appreciate the things you don't have time to appreciate. Helping out at home, taking your daughter to an appointment, appreciating your home, talking to your partner. Your beagle's your hiking partner. Yay. Very good. You need to seek help from others. Networking, I can talk on networking for an hour. We don't have the time to do that today. Ken is one of my networking buddies. Thank you, Ken. He's been so helpful to me. Ask for help. Can I tell you how encouraging it is when people want to help me? It's just so encouraging. It makes you feel good. It's the positive side of the negative side of job search. John and I had a call. John reached out to me, which was nice. So, this is a time that it's okay to say, you know what? I need help. I usually help people. I need help. So it's okay to reach out and ask. I know we don't like doing it. Trust me, I'm not good at it, but we have to. And what will happen, you will be blown away by all the help that you get and where that takes you. And the last one I had there is a gratitude journal, but you can actually use this little 3x3 sheet if you want as kind of a gratitude journal. Again, it's really good to think of things. What am I grateful for right now? Everything's not horrible. Yes, I'm looking for a job, but the sun's shining. I have a house and a roof over my head. I've got food in my kitchen. Everything's not bad. So how do we focus on that? And if you focus on gratitude, that really helps you to focus on that. And looking forward. I think we want to look forward. What's next? So I just talked a little bit of what to focus on, but I want to get your opinion in chat. What do you think you should be focusing on right now? Would you write some ideas in chat about what you should be focusing on? What can you be focusing on? Consistency, commitment, more networking, less applying to job boards. Yay, Kathleen. Yes. 80 to 85% of your time on networking. Yes. Please, it's so important. I've had since last fall, I've had probably over 180 networking calls with people. That's where my focus is for my job search. Self-care, putting in the work every day until you land your next great role. Absolutely. Oh, good. Somebody put in, thank you, John. Something about, the daily gratitude quote. That's great. All about gratitude. I also get a daily positive quote from John Gordon, Jon, and then Gordon, Gordon. He's great. I get a positive quote every morning from him, which I look forward to because it changes my perspective. So we want to focus on a lot of things. Take inventory for yourself. What are your qualities? What are your skills? What are your strengths? What are your accomplishments? What are your successes? Think about those proudest accomplishments that you wrote down already. Take some inventory. Stay on top of things in your industry, your function, your role. What's going on? What's changing? One thing you can get on top of right now is AI. How is AI changing the world? Because it is. So get yourself educated about that. I actually have been using AI to write cover letters and then refining them because I don't like it exactly the way it writes them, but I can put in a job description, my resume, and it writes a cover letter for you. And then I make it sound like me instead of like AI. Play with AI. You don't have to do anything with it, but go out and play with it so you know what it is and what it brings to the table. Think about what you can work on to make yourself even more valuable to your next employer. What can you do to make yourself even more valuable? Expand your network, reconnect with your network. A lot of my networking calls are not new people, they're reconnecting with people I haven't talked with for a while. So reconnect, find out what they're doing. And remember, networking is a two-way street. I always ask the question, how can I help you? Always ask that question when I'm networking. Create a work plan and goals. Remember, you talked about the loss of structure? You've got to put structure into your day. Otherwise, I don't know about you, but I'll totally lose track of anything. So I have my Google Calendar and I'm keeping everything in there. I have my spreadsheet with all my job search activities, and I have it all organized so I know where I'm headed. Make sure you're including those activities and people and pets that give your life meaning. Make sure you're including that. Otherwise, this is going to be a drudgery for you. We need to have those fun things in there, like Zumba classes or walking your dog or whatever it is. Start a new hobby or learn something new that can engage your mind and make you think differently or make you add another skill. Thank you, Eric. Asking yourself, what is the job that I need to get done right now, and making sure you're spending time on that. Great question. Find ways to use and demonstrate your strengths. I wasn't going to go this direction, but I'm actually pursuing about 4 contract opportunities right now. I really want a full-time job. However, I'm having contract jobs coming at me. So I'm going to do one for the Judge Group, a local organization. It's a very short-term contract. It's really safety training. It's not probably my favorite thing in the world to do. I'm going to do it. I'll learn something new. I'll meet new people. So I'm going to use these contract opportunities to meet more people. And sometimes jobs are created for you when you do contract work. We mentioned volunteer, we mentioned the daily routine. And then lastly, how can you get to yourself to a place of thinking positively? And there's the quote, if you start to think positively, your attitude and actions will follow. So that gratitude journal actually helps with that, right? So when you're grateful for something, you're thinking positively. And when you start thinking positively, then your attitude and your actions will follow along with that. And it's really important right now. Whoa, that was interesting. Sorry about that. It's really important right now to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, then please go back to those ways to build up your self-confidence. Or go ask a friend, what do you like about me? Why are we friends? Get somebody to bolster you up when you don't feel like you can do it. Because this is a process. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I know you've heard that. It takes time. So we want to build up our self-confidence. We want to take care of ourselves, and we want to be focusing on the right thing. That's really important as we're going through this. So before I wrap up, I want to read you a quote that I printed out for myself. This is specifically for job seekers. And it's an anonymous quote. I don't know who said it. You will emerge from this nightmare like the powerful, beautiful, resilient person that you are. It can be hard to remember this when you feel like a shell of the person you once were. But trust me, you're capable of overcoming so much more than you think. I printed that out. I look at it myself to remind myself, to encourage myself, and I hope that that encourages you. So I'm going to stop sharing, and if people have questions or things they want to discuss, I'm happy to do that. And you can let me know whether I met my present well and encourage the Beacon attendees on my list today. You can let me know whether I did that or not. So any questions, anything I can help with?
Amy, in the interest of the giving back, what sort of connection could any of us make for you that would be helpful to you in your transition?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, I do have a target company list that I'm looking to make connections for people that work at those companies. So I'm happy to share that. I don't know, Rob, if you can share that with your group, if you're comfortable doing that. Um, if you hear of any learning and development manager type positions, that's what I'm looking for in the Philadelphia suburbs, or even contracts, where I'm doing something like this. I'm creating content and then delivering content. I love doing it. I'm very passionate about it. And, so if you hear of those opportunities, that would be great. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm listed as Amy L. Lynn is my middle name, L. Dinning. Love to connect with you if we're not already connected. And if I can help anyone here, of course, I'm very willing to do that. Oh, thank you, Drew. I appreciate it. Any questions or anything else I can cover or help with while we've got a little bit of time left?
Well, Amy, I do think you hit your goal, first of all. The thing that stood out to me, there's a lot of great information, but the identifying your emotions, getting beyond the angry or the mad, sad or whatever. I think that could help you in life in a lot of different places. But here, I think when you put a name on it and you clarify what it is, it becomes less bad, I guess would be the word, or less negative when you recognize it. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Learned over time.
Amy, you said early on that this is a topic not much discussed, and when you mentioned that, I thought about there's a lot of discussion everybody's heard about rebound relationships, right? You get out of a relationship and you get in the next one immediately, and often the rebound relationship is bad. And I had an experience where I had a rebound job. And it was because I jumped right in. I wanted to get right back into it. And it was available. I took it. The firm that connected me said, "Are you really sure you want to take this job?" And they were the ones that showed it to me. And it was at least a yellow flag, if not a red flag. And it's like, no, I'll just dig in. And it was tough. So I think your process, a lot of what you talked about was very, very helpful in that it's almost like you can go too quickly through this process and go in the wrong place.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think that, it's bad. You gave a perfect example. It's like a rebound relationship. You look for the next shiny thing. Oh, there's a shiny thing over there. I'm going to do it. And it could be a really bad shiny thing, and bad for us, bad for our career. Now that's not to say sometimes we do need to find a job quickly because we need the money, we need the income. I totally get that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about really jumping to something that we don't need to jump for just because we feel like we've lost our identity and we'll regain it if we get this job. And, you know, okay, but if you haven't given yourself the time to really work through those emotions, I'll be honest with you, the one situation that I shared with you where I was glad that I got laid off, it took me, I'm going to say, a good year to get my self-confidence up again, because that was like being in a battered relationship with my boss. That's how it was. And it really took me a year before I noticed that I really felt confident in what I did. I was in a new job, and luckily I had a great boss who was very caring for me and very understanding. But it took me a good year before I felt like myself again, just because of the experience in that job. And it's sad that this is happening to people in jobs today, but we know that it does. So that's why they're not going to take care of us. We need to take care of us. That's on us, and we need to spend the time to do that. It's so important. So thanks for sharing that, Glenn.
I just as a quick follow-up, I remember when Dick Vermeil decades ago left the Eagles, he popularized burnout. And I think that's another aspect of this too, is it could be emotional burnout, you're physically burned out, mentally burned out.
Yeah,
And
very,
that
very
can take a
true.
long time to recover from.
Yeah. And that's why we don't want to burn ourselves out in our job search either, right? And somebody said to me the other day, I'll be fully honest with you. Somebody said, Amy, you look tired. You need to give yourself a break. You need to do something fun, or you need to just get away from your computer for a little while. And I said, okay, message received. You know, so, but we need to do that. We need to take care of ourselves, and or listen to people when they say you're not doing a good job taking care of yourself. So it's a grind. It's really a grind. So you got to do whatever you can do to keep going. And some of that requires a break.
Yeah, and so often you get into this trap that everyone's telling you, oh, job search, treat it like a full-time job. Work as many hours as you would in your job, and then online go in the evening. That's a recipe for burnout. I mean, when I remember going to, I think it was Lehigh, well, one of the outplacement firms, when I was going through a transition, and they're saying, okay, you're going to be here at least 8 to 4 every single day. And I'm like, yeah, this is not the right place for me. And I've picked a place where it was a credit system. I could go some days or go half days or what, and that worked perfectly because I was so upbeat in everything I did because I wasn't burning myself out.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to look tired and have no motivation and energy when you're interviewing, and especially when you might be interviewing online, like we're all talking today, because a lot of interviews are taking place that way. So you got to do what you can do to get yourself pumped up and excited and give yourself the break. I've been sleeping in every morning. I'll be honest. I haven't slept in like this for years. Ken?
Yeah, I was going to say, to John's point, which was emphasizing one of your points, Amy, I think that sometimes people do, like, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I have a friend who did this, and that's what worked. They do that with your health too. Oh, your back hurts? Oh, I had a friend who had his back hurt and he had major surgery. You should do that. Like,
Right.
nobody knows who you are or what you need or what you deserve. So don't let other people set the bar for you. I do think, to John's point, I could never look for a job as a full-time job. I mean, that to me is ridiculous. But I do think you should find your comfort level and then maybe push a little bit out of it. Just push yourself a little beyond that. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure. And as Amy said, there's too much negativity in the job search as it is. You don't need to let other people set you up for that failure.
Yeah, very true. Other questions or comments or feelings you want to talk about, since we're talking about feelings today?
Well, Amy, I thought this was outstanding today. I really, really do. We appreciate your time and your efforts around it. First of all, it's so clear that you are good at what you do, and really talented in this. I mean, I can't remember the last time I was on a webinar like this that felt like it was almost in the room. You were using chat so well. You were keeping us engaged. It was highly facilitated. It was just, it was a great display of your expertise. And I know that's not why you came on, but just you really did a good job. So any organization out there would be fortunate to have you, doing that in-house for them from that standpoint. But it was really outstanding. I think, I'm taking away, a key message to me was separating what happened to you versus who you are. And being able to really, find value. And I know these are cliches kind of things, but, we all do. We wrap our identities up in the work that we do, how we are when that's taken away. And often what happens is it is taken away. It's not your choice. And when a person doesn't have choice or agency in a situation, they lose, it's even more frustrating to them. And I think you really help remind people that you can separate, the what happened, and you're not a victim, and then just, again, take responsibility and manage yourself. So I thought your message on those fronts was just both really, really well delivered. I mean, superbly delivered, and just really on point. So I'm grateful that you took the time to join us today from that perspective. I really, I think you hit your goal of doing well for Beacon today, from that standpoint. I really do think that people are going to walk away from today's session with at least one thing that they didn't have coming into it, and that's the mark of a really good session from that standpoint. So we're grateful for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So we want to respect everyone's time. Any final comments or final questions for Amy? Again, the recording's there. Have access to it, and share share LinkedIn comments and feedback and so forth. I think all that would be good. Glenn, see your comment about that. I think when you check the recording, that the deck is available, but we should be able to get a copy of the slides out as well from that standpoint, if Amy's okay with that. Amy just said she's okay with that. So I think we're good on that front. Any final comments that folks want to make before we thank you and let you get on with your day? All right. Well, again, Amy, thank you so much. It was a great way to spend an hour or so today. You really helped us all walk away with something, important and valuable. So thanks for that. And thanks to all of you for attending today. We appreciate you taking your time and coming in. It's what makes Beacon the great organization that it is. So thank you for that. We hope that you'll look forward to more of these topics, and good luck with all of your transition activities. And if any of us, myself, John, Ken, Jess, if we can be helpful in any way with your own transition activities from a networking standpoint or what have you, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We'll be happy to do that.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you very much, everyone.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye now.
Take care.